Welcome to the Word for Life podcast, a daily devotional covering the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation.
The people of Israel are on a backward journey. Since they rebelled against the Lord, He prohibited them from entering Canaan and asked them to turn back. In Numbers 14:25, we read, "The Lord told the Israelites, 'Turn back tomorrow and set out toward the desert along the route to the Red Sea.'" This was a great tragedy, and this seemed to have irritated some of the Israelites. So now in chapter 16, Korah, Dathan, and Abiram and 250 community leaders show their frustrations on Moses and Aaron. Verse 3 tells us, "They came as a group to oppose Moses and Aaron and said to them, 'You have gone too far. The whole community is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is with them. Why then do you set yourselves above the Lord's assembly?'" Friends, we all know as a fact that Moses and Aaron did not boss over the Israelites. But here these people unfairly accuse Moses and Aaron. And then in verse 14, they complained, "Moreover, you haven't brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, or given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards." Notice here that again they blame Moses and Aaron for losing out on Canaan. But everyone knows that Moses and Aaron were not in any way responsible for the problem. In fact, Moses and Aaron, along with Joshua and Caleb, pleaded with the Israelites to not rebel against the Lord. They begged them not to listen to the 10 spies. In Numbers 14:9, Caleb and Joshua told the people, "Only do not rebel against the Lord. Do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them. Their protection is gone. The Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them." But it was Israelites who did not trust the Lord. Instead, they relied on the bad report of the 10 spies. Friends, when people are disappointed with their own mistakes, they generally find fault with others. We too need to be careful when we make mistakes. It's okay to fail sometimes. We are all humans and we may fail at times, but we cannot mitigate the problem by picking a fight with others. Here, Korah, Dathan, Abiram, and 250 community leaders accused Moses and brought up illogical and unfair accusations. You see, Korah was a Levite, and he and his other fellow Levites tried to become priests like Aaron. Interestingly, Moses asked them to appear before the Lord with censers of incense that only priests can handle. Moses wanted the Lord to take a decision. If the Lord wanted Korah and other Levites to be priests, so be it. If not, let God decide. Notice here that Moses only asked them to bring the censers the next day. This means Korah and his men had time to rethink their decision and even repent. But verse 18 tells us how foolish they were. They brought their censers, put burning coals and incense on it, and stood at the entrance to the tent of the meeting. Also, Moses asked Dathan and Abiram to come and talk to him personally, but they also acted foolishly. They did not come. There was a chance for them also to repent, but they did not come. Instead, they replied in verse 13, "Isn't it enough that you have brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness?" Notice that these men called Egypt a land flowing with milk and honey. Clearly, they were talking nonsense. This only angered the Lord. So in verse 19, we read that the glory of the Lord appeared at the tent of the meeting. And in verse 31 and 32, we read that the ground under them split apart and swallowed Korah and all his people. And in verse 35, we read that fire came out from the Lord and consumed the 250 men who were offering the incense. And in verse 41, we read that when other people also grumbled against Moses and Aaron, God sent a plague and many people died because of Korah. Friends, sometimes people, in their disappointments with their own faults, turn against other people and blame them. Believers are careful when they make mistakes. They turn to the Lord, repent, and trust the faithfulness of God. You see, God can turn our own mistakes into something good. But believers do not allow their hearts to deceive them into thinking that someone else caused the problem when they are actually responsible for it. Jeremiah 17:9 tells us that the heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? Friends, believers learn to quieten their hearts.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow for the next episode of the Word for Life podcast.